This right here is BMW Concept 4, presented at the 2019 Frankfurt Auto Show. And this, to me, is a direction, is a taste of where BMW is going with their graphical language, especially in the front. And you also have the BMW i4, which we're going to compare this with. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this new style of the front of BMW and apply it to what could be the next generation BMW X5 and see if there's any way we can make this less intrusive in the front of the BMW and kind of integrate it better in the overall style of the car. And that's what I want to start with the Concept 4 here. I want to talk about the issue that I have with the Concept 4. The problem here is I think they made a mistake when they didn't go all in with this new design language. They tried to test the waters and play it safe, and what I mean by that, they kept some traditional styling cues in the Concept 4 while applying this brand new massive change, which is the grille, of course, in the front. And what that does, there are two worlds colliding and they don't really blend well together, because you see the new grille here, it's a very geometrical element. We have four lines like this, and then they are of course connected like that, so pretty much two rectangles combined. And then you have that graphics in combination with the styling parts that we're used to seeing from BMW, and this works with the smaller, more stylized grills. But when you add this styling in combination with this, something just doesn't add up. And another mistake I think they made with this specific concept here is that they made this change here in the front, they made it stand out by making it gray. So instead of having the audience kind of ease into this change, it is of course a big change, just the design of it, but then making it silver on top of that just adds to the separation of the two styles. And it looks like this is a piece that just doesn't belong on this particular car. So now let's compare this style of the front and compare it to the BMW i4. This, to me, I think this works a lot better because of two main factors. The first one being, you can see that the styling isn't too aggressive in this. We have a lot of horizontal and vertical lines, and it feels more like a product design. It's less emotional, but the key thing here, it works a lot better with this new graphic, which is the grille. And on top of that, they didn't frame the grille with a thick frame going around the entire grille, but instead it integrates better in the front of the car. And you also have this horizontal line here and a vertical line right there, and these kind of work together. They blend well with the lines that we have in the grille overall here. So if we compare this, if we switch between the i4 and the Concept 4, you can probably see what I mean here, that this belongs to today's BMWs, and today's BMWs don't have this type of grille. The grille of today's BMWs, they do have some styling and curvatures in the grille itself. It's not simply two rectangles next to each other. And when you style the grille, that means you can do styling like this on the rest of the front. But if you decide to put something like this, which is very product designy and very geometrical, you need to do that on the rest of the car as well. And that's why I think the BMW i4 works a lot better in this regard, and I think this is closer to what their vision is of where they're going. I feel like a lot of companies these days, they have this approach that cars are becoming more like products, and that goes with the design as well. The design is becoming less emotional and less of a sculpture and more about usability and functions, and that is reflected in the design of these new cars that we see coming out today, specifically the electric concept cars. So what we are going to do now is to try to apply this new graphical language or elements to the BMW X5 to kind of predict what the next X5 could look like. And we know for sure that it's coming, so whether you like this new massive grille or not, it's for sure coming, because we have seen photos of it almost in production ready cars, and also a lot of spy photos showing that the new 4 Series, for example, will have this grille, and then it's only a matter of time before that will spill over to the rest of the lineup. So let's have some fun with the BMW X5 here, and let's see how this is going to turn out and how we can integrate this design onto the X5 without having it look like it doesn't belong there. Alright, so here we are, of course, inside of Photoshop. If this is the software that we're using to create these redesigns here. Now, what I want to do is to create more structure in the front end of the X5. If you look at the i4 and the Concept 4 as well, I guess, but more so the i4, you can see that this is the direction that BMW is going to go with. It's going to be less of an emotional design with a lot of curvatures and stuff like that, and sweeping lines, and less of that and more of horizontal and vertical lines and surfaces connected together with a few key graphical elements. And of course, the big graphical element here is going to be the grille. So what I want to do is I want to have the lower air intake, or the bumper itself, to wrap around the grille. But if we do that, the problem that is going to create is that we're going to have this massive hole in the middle of the car, the front fascia of the car, and then we're going to have some black graphics underneath the car, but we also need some sort of line or piece of the body to hold everything up. So I'm going to have to create some sort of blue. Since this X5 here is blue, I need to have some sort of blue underneath everything that holds everything up, so we don't have just black and then the car fascia ends. We need to have some body surface at the bottom to hold all those graphical elements up, if that makes sense. I'm going to show you later what I'm talking about here. But the thing here, as I said, as I might have said it before, but it's funny how people talk about the big grills of the BMWs in a negative way, mostly. And you know, it's kind of understandable, and I'm gonna let you know why in a second. But if you think about it, just look at the new Lexus NX, for example, right here. It's huge. The grille is massive. Or the Toyota Avalon. It looks like it has its own gravitational field, and that the front of this car can actually bend time. It's a lot bigger than the BMW grills, and yet they don't get as much, I wouldn't call it hate, but comments, negative comments on their design. And the reason for this is BMW and their two kidneys is such a symbol for BMW. So when you do any changes to the kidneys themselves, it's going to stir up a lot of emotions. And that's just good. That just means that BMW has a strong brand identity. And I don't know about this redesign. It's not going to be try to make it a more beautiful design, because beauty is emotion, and this is going away from that. So it's not going to be emotional. It's going to be more of a product feel to the front end, because that is where BMW is headed, along with a bunch of other brands as well. You can look at Polestar, typical product design, car design. And I think BMW is headed that way as well. So it's not going to be beauty is in the eye of the beholder, of course, but beauty to me has a lot of emotion in it. It's Italian. Italian cars are always, for the most part, very beautiful because they have long sweeping curves and lines, and it just looks good. It looks like it's an organic being. But this is going to be, we're going to work with this to get away from that and implement this new grille here, and then have the graphics around that work in harmony with this new big design feature change that is the grille. I also think that future models of pretty much all cars will have smaller headlights. So headlights are not going to take up a lot of space for future models, and that goes for BMW as well. And you can already starting to see that with the i4. Very squinty headlights, and Audi is heading in that direction as well. So that's what I'm applying to this redesign here as well. And there we have it, guys. That's the redesign of the BMW X5, kind of predicting what the next generation will look like. And to me, it doesn't look as good as the current design because I don't know. I think this is one of these designs that really needs some time to grow. Even though the new 4 Series is coming out, I know for sure when I see it, it's going to look weird. But I think BMW know what they're doing, and I think this is just going to be one of these times when, you know, it's going to grow on you, and you just need time to adjust to the new look of BMW. Because, as I said previously, nobody is complaining about the massive grills of pretty much every other brand right now. Compared to those, the current BMWs, the grills aren't even that big. So this is actually what everybody else is doing as well. But it just looks weird because the grill is such an iconic shape of the BMW. It's such a identifier for BMW. So when you mess around with that, it's different when you do that to a BMW than when you do it, for example, to the Toyota Avalon, which doesn't have any identity in the grill connected to Toyota itself, if that makes sense. But me, I'm looking forward to this new design by BMW because I think it's new, it's bold, and that's exactly what we need in the design industry today. Everything looks too much the same. We need to have simpler styling with more identifiable big graphical elements of each brand, and this is definitely a step in the right direction. I'm TheSketchMonkey. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.